Hey, it's the Loco Hoops Report, and we just added a new guest while we were in the intro. That was fun. Robbie B popped in just in time to get in the mix at the outset of the Loco Hoops Report. Welcome. I am Justin Jarrett, joined by Wes Kerr, Marcus Walsh of WHHI TV, and Robbie B, Robbie Benson. What's going on, guys? It's a slow night for Loco Hoops, which means that we get to just kind of chop it up, which is always fun. But we did have another
Barn burner.
Donnybrook at the Creek. Battery Creek boys pull out a double OT win over Bishop England with a buzzer beater that may or may not have beat the buzzer, but we don't have replay, so we'll never know. Except we will, because we're going to get Javon and Thomas, hopefully from Buford's Own, in here if they can get settled in time. Because this thing went, it went up until like 15 minutes ago. It was a wild one. And that was like yeah, that's what I called them, the cardiac boys. No, it's wild how they've been playing over there. But I called the Buford's Own boys the cardiac boys because everywhere they go, it's craziness every night. It's been fun to watch. But no, that was about it. Because Wes, you were trying to go to the JP2 BA game, and womp womp, they called it and didn't tell us. Just played the middle school. What do you know about that, Robbie?
Hold on, what? They called it? There was no game?
No contest.
No varsity games. No.
Wow.
My explanation that I got was, yeah, we both had exams this week, and we could get in some pushback about playing upper school games on Mondays or on Monday through Wednesdays. So we just scrapped it. I'm like, what?
Interesting.
What?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the schedule on match preps.
Yeah, I don't know how you just changed that out of nowhere. That's sort of
right.
Sort of interesting. And then obviously being basketball and all, there are going to be exams. It's a 2-semester sport. So
I don't know what we're doing. I was looking forward to that boys game.
I was pumped. I haven't seen either of those teams yet, especially how well that JP2 was playing. I kind of hadn't even when I put them up last minute to number 8, I felt like they were still a little low, just because of how potential they showed and how tough they played a couple of strong teams early on in the year. But and Buford Academy, it's a fun team to watch as well, really underrated side. But tough to see that one get wiped out, unfortunately, as we're into the meat of the holidays, I guess you can say, and it ends up being a smaller slate because of that, which is, it's disappointing to not have, when we were going on a constant grind of so many games, kind of miss that. But at the same time, we get to see a couple of the tournaments coming up. We got the Holiday Classic tipping off Thursday, and we're going to get a very rare local on loco game to start off. Hilton Head High against Hilton Head Prep on the boys' side, so that'll be a lot of fun. Marcus gets to see a game we don't see very often. A Hilton Head Prep team coming off state championship last year, going up against a Hilton Head High squad that has shown some fight and shown some electricity early on, despite the not the best record. They've gotten some nice wins though at home, so that'll be a fun one. But definitely a lot slower, but gives us time to catch our breath after a very hectic start and kind of evaluate where things are and who's been catching our eye.
You got a kind of busy slate tomorrow though, because you guys cross starts that tournament at Holly Hill, right, Rob? And
and
Holy Trinity's in it as well. Buford hosts James Island tomorrow night, and Ridgeland's at Colleton County, which is kind of fun.
Wednesday's normally not the busy day, but
I know that's wrestling night usually.
The 28th through the 30th is slammed. So
that's
like 20 the 28th through the 30th.
Bobcat Classic, whatever that's called. You're also going to get Hilton Head High, Hilton Head Prep boys in the Seahawk Classic this week.
Yeah, that'll be good.
That's fun.
I know 2 or 3 teams are heading up to the Charleston Lowcountry Invitational in Charleston. So there'll be a whole slew of low or lower low country teams up there in Charleston.
Plus you got the Colleton Prep tournament. for the skeesis.
That's right.
That one's
That's
usually
right.
a good time. It's a good time just because you can see a lot of people in one place in short time. And I feel like they play those games like ultra fast. They're like they're all done in like an hour 10. Like, bang, bang, bang.
I think some of those tournaments should be played that way, you know.
Yeah.
The one we're playing this week, I think, should be played that way a little. They should be played. It should be AAU style, right? Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like hey,
we're playing it. Yeah, like let's just bust this thing out in a day and call it what it is.
Once we kind of know who's going to win this game, let's just move on.
It's different though, like with like the Savannah Holiday Invitational this past week, like that's a different beast. Like you need a day off between games, and you need to like prep, even scout a little because so some of those are they're more regional matchups, but they're definitely tougher matchups. The Charleston one will be like that too, and obviously the Seahawk Invitational over the years, as well as the Bobcat Bonanza.
Bobcat Bonanza. Oh, they should call it that.
That's
Better than Bobcat Classic.
Yeah,
The Bluffton
either
Bobcat
way,
Bonanza.
they both draw pretty well from out of state, so you're going to get some out of state squads there as well. So it'll be nice.
Yeah, you always see some different styles and some different. The Bobcat Classic has really always had some like Tennessee teams and Florida teams.
For sure.
Yeah, Holiday Classic,
North Carolina
kind of thing as well.
Yeah.
We've had in the past we had a team.
Well, they've had a really wide
Australia.
range.
We had a team from Australia.
They played in the Bluffton tournament before too. The Dunkaroos, I called them.
That's a great nickname.
I called them the Dunkaroos. They were great though. They were fun, man. It was just one of those like international tour things, like when kids from here go and play soccer in England or whatever for a week, and it was just one of those things, like an all-star tour team. But they were great fun. Like it was really fun. The kids always enjoyed playing them. It felt like they were. I mean, everybody treated them like they were the Australian national team or something. That wasn't like that, but they were fun. They were a lot of fun. They added a lot of flavor to it. And man, the Rhett Thomas used to be good too. Like for a few years, the Rhett Thomas got real good, where they would have some wicked teams coming up to play like Pinewood in that thing, and then just like Hilton Prep and Hilton Christian would just play each other in the consolation game.
Yeah. The Invitational up there is going to be big, man. It's like I think it's several hundred teams, and I mean, so if you look at
and they have the flighted brackets and stuff, right?
Yeah, and if you look at cross girls. I'm not sure about boys, but the cross girls, I mean, they've got a Kentucky team, a North Carolina team, and a South Carolina team. And I know Hilton Head Christian girls have a West Virginia squad.
Nice.
I think another Kentucky team or an Ohio team or something like that. So it's good to get those interregional matchups so you can get different styles of play and it gets to be a little bit of a grind around here. I mean, I know the girls' side obviously very well, but like you get out there, and I mean, the good kids are the good kids. They've been playing each other for a good minute now,
Yeah.
So like,
right. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I saw you in Charlotte.
Yeah, there's not too much new under the sun down here in terms of like what's going on out there right now. The boys' stuff's more interesting right now because the boys' stuff. You have like when I was trying to do my rankings on the boys' side, there's like a handful of like there's like 5 or 6, and then they all have like wins that are sort of contrary to the others.
Right, there are a lot of splits.
A lot of splits and like, hey, I beat you before you had your football kids back, and then or like and or like. One team you really like, but then they got swept by a team you're like weren't so high on.
I know there's a ton of that. It's like, well, I can clearly not rank them ahead because they lost to this team I don't even have in my top 10. But they also beat this team I have at number 2.
That's totally the way the boys' side is. It's like you can make points for anything and then also get shot down like on the very next one.
Exactly. Yeah, like that's what you can justify almost anything, but it's also going to get holes poked in it. Like there's no 2 ways.
the girls' side's a little more like that. Is like that too, but it gets to be more like speculative after the first 2 or 3, and then
Yeah, like the first 3 are pretty solid, and then yeah, like I know you had Hilton Head. We'll flash them up in a little bit. I know you had Hilton Head ahead of Cross, which Wes and I both had Cross ahead of Hilton Head, but I considered that because like Leah Jackson is becoming a problem that would be an issue for Cross to defend. I think they're scrappy, like they have a lot of the same kind of kids.
It's
yeah, it's and then like Hilton Head Prep is in that area.
I mean,
well.
I think at the end of the day, like the thing with the Hilton Heads and the Crosses and stuff like that is that they've seen such a vast different level of competition so far.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong. Like a lot of it's in name brand only. Like when you get out to a lot of these games, and I don't know if you're seeing this on the boys' side because I would guess not nearly as much. But for whatever reason, like right now, for example, Cross girls could win Skiza 1A and Skiza 2A.
Right.
Like there's a possibility they could win. I mean, they're not going to play both, but they could.
Right. Yeah.
But like
we challenge you.
There can be only one. But like it's not necessarily like that, but like they could do that sort of thing. But then, I mean, it doesn't mean they've got some skilled kids and they've got some talented kids, but there's just more rough and tumble teams out there. I mean, they're softer than Get Out. I mean, you know what I mean? Like they're the epitome of a finesse team in the area. I'm not sure they're going to out rebound Skiza 1A teams, much less.
Yeah. Right.
Like
a Hilton Head would get them.
Yeah.
Would get them roughed up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, Cross would get roughed up until they've seen some stuff. I mean, they've definitely got some kids. Don't get me wrong, but like you can't fake the funk when it comes to competition. So I mean, Hilton Head's they lost Linda, so that changes everything. I was really like thinking if they had Linda, after seeing Bluffton early in the year, I was like, whoa, I think Hilton Head's might have a real shot at this thing.
Yeah, such a bummer, man.
Yeah, for sure. And then, but like. There's just good stories too on that side. I mean, prep girls are better than we thought they were going to be. I think they certainly have they got some younger kids that have like contributed in ways that I don't necessarily think I was expecting them to contribute. And it's interesting to see the maturation of Hampton. I think they had more in place and then lost a couple kids in the preseason and between the schools merging. It's a different roster than they thought they were going to get. So they're working through it right now. So it's hard to really say who they will be by the end of the season,
There's Wes's girls top 10 to start with.
Okay.
So you can pick that one apart, Robbie. What do you got? What do you got there? We got Bluffton at 1. He went Bluffton over Hilton Head Christian. That disagrees with you and I. And then JP2 Cross, Hilton Head Prep. May River, he's high on the Sharks. Has him ahead of Hilton Head. I can't agree there, but I mean, based on the record, I get it. Hampton, Carleton Prep, and Ridgeland Hardyville. And then what did I do? I switched it up top, and I went JP2 Cross, Hilton Head, Hampton. You got Hilton Head, Hampton split. I didn't know what to do with Hilton Head Prep. I could put them from 5 or 4 even all the way down. May River, I still don't know what to do with them. They split with Ridgeland, and they swept Beaufort. That doesn't mean a lot to me. But it's better than losing those games, right? And then Carleton County, I don't know. I didn't know who to give the 10th spot to. It could have been anybody as far as I was concerned. I had about 4 of them, and I was like, it could be them. I don't know. So let me see if I can get Robbie's. You gave it to me. Rob has Hilton Head Christian, Bluffton, JP2, then Hilton Head, Cross, Hilton Head Prep, Hampton County, Ridgeland, May River, and Battery Creek. So there you have it.
I actually have just kind of been a little bit late to getting going with basketball, being that we just finished off some football coverage for our season with WHI a couple of weeks ago with the Best of the Bulls. That's airing this weekend, by the way, Friday,
Nice.
Saturday, and Sunday in lieu of the news. So I'm going to be recording that because I'm going to be heading over to see family for Christmas this weekend.
Dibs on in lieu of the news for band name.
That's a fantastic.
That's a good one, yeah. But our schedule as of now looks like we're going to be starting games no later than January 12th. We still have to hear back from Whale Branch to see if we can go out and do the Bridges Prep Whale Branch game on February 6th. That was a great doubleheader that we had last year at Bridges Prep. So it'd be great to have the rematch. The games that are definitely locked and loaded, we'll have Hilton Head at May River on January 19th. We will have Bluffton at Hilton Head on January 26th. And then we got word the other day that we will be able to do the HHCA Hilton Head Prep doubleheader on the 12th.
Nice.
If we can't go out to Whale Branch on February 6th, we will plan to start our season on January 9th with the Battery Creek Beaufort High doubleheader. So we're looking to do 4 matchups. It's just a matter of when we start exactly. And looking at all of those teams, they're pretty competitive just from the little bit that I've seen thus far. Obviously, you talk about multi-talented athletes on the guys' side. You talk about a lot of football players playing for these teams and players coming back on both the guys and the girls. I'm very impressed with the start from the little bit that I've seen and read so far. Very impressed with the start that the Hilton Head Prep girls have had. Obviously, losing, as Robbie mentioned, losing Linda Young for Hilton Head is huge, but they seem to be holding their own despite not having her. Bluffton is always a juggernaut. It's just, can they get to the next level?
Right.
My opinion on the girls' side of things. Hilton Head Prep looks really good on the guys' side. The one team that I actually didn't think of on the girls' side as being as young as they are is Beaufort. And you've got
Beaufort's having a rough start to their season.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at today. And so it's going to be interesting to see if they can kind of take it to a second or third gear.
Like you said, obviously it counts the most when you play those region games. So, if they start to work at and find something over the holidays and transfer that back into, when it really counts. I mean, that's what it's all about. So, certainly Reggie Jones, he's a fantastic coach and he's going to do all he can to put those young ladies in the right position. But certainly some work is there to be done with that squad going forward. But I'm all in the Hilton Head Prep girls team. I agree with you. I think they've taken a big step up, not just by the way that Courtney's playing, as she's been large in charge, leading that squad with the number of assists she's doling out, but her teammates are starting to step up as well. The supporting cast has gotten better, and that's really the thing that has pushed this Hilton Head Prep girls team forward. I do think Hilton Head Christian Academy is still the class of that region, and I expect them to come up with the wins and the head-to-head matchups. I do think Hilton Head Prep is a much better spot than they were a year ago, and I think that's
light years. I mean, the kids are young around her, but they know what they're doing. Like you can watch, if you watch film, like they're running lanes on the break, like they get out and go with her, and there are other people who can finish on a break. Like it's not like everybody has to wait for Courtney or whatever and hope that she can finish through the foul. She can get it ahead and have some confidence they'll finish. Phoebe Helms has been a monster on the boards, and
absolutely
just phenomenal. A monster. She's getting like 15, 18 rebounds some games. And that's huge. That gets them, a lot of them are offensive boards, get them extra possessions, get it back to Courtney, let her reset it, or they're getting some putbacks. But really, I was impressed watching the video of their game against VA the other night, because I got there after the game ended, and I watched some of the huddle, and I was really impressed with the way they get out on the break and work with her. And she doesn't have to feel like she has to do it all. But then that also allows her a little bit more freedom to do more too, because when you have to respect the others, she can get off a little bit more. So I like where they're headed for sure. I'm looking forward to, especially, them against JP2. I think that could be a fun matchup.
Yeah.
All three of those are going to be more interesting than they have been. Let's put it that way.
Oh, absolutely.
We got our guys top 10 up here. We both agree on Hampton County at the top, but then it gets real messy. You went Hilton Head Prep, and then Bridges, Hilton Head Christian, Beaufort, Battery Creek, which got another win tonight, Bluffton, JP2, Hilton Head, May River. And I ain't arguing with nothing except Whale Branch is good. That's all I would say about that. And I have Hampton, Beaufort, Whale Branch, Bridges Prep, Hilton Head Prep, Hilton Head Christian, Battery Creek, Bluffton, Colleton County, May River. So for me, it all comes down to like, how do you treat Whale Branch?
Right.
And we treated them differently, so that explains a lot
Yeah,
of it.
and it's you can do it a couple different ways, and I feel like maybe it's more so a combination of what have you seen in terms
Yeah.
of the results versus I kind of akin to
The eye test.
when you look at the Ken Palm analytical rankings, it's not always based on who's the wins and losses. It's based on
Right.
Who's the best team if they play X amount of simulations. Like this team
Right.
will most likely be on
Yes.
top because of how efficient they are.
Right.
So and of course the eye test plays another role to that as well. I mean, if you're seeing a team that's that's playing the right way, but it's coming up short like Whale Branch has, I totally agree why they should be high up. And I mean, you can make a case for them being. I think 3 is a little high right now, but I think especially top 5
It's probably
at
too
least.
high. I didn't feel good about putting them at 3, but I couldn't justify moving anybody ahead of them yet. You could say Hilton Head Christian could move up there, and I think Rob had them second. But I don't know. I'm sure he's still out for me. Just haven't seen anything that like really got me too excited. And so I just want to see a little bit more with the new coach before I jump too far into that. Plus, like until they beat Prep, like they're still the champs, and they've shown me more than I expected. So I had to respect them a little bit. But Rob had Hampton, Hilton Head Christian, Beaufort, Battery Creek, Whale Branch, Bridges Prep, Hilton Head High, May River, Ridgeland, Bluffton. So that's an interesting way to stack them up.
Not sold on
as
Bluffton,
well.
despite the overtime win over Hampton
Yeah.
County. Although, of course, that was coming right after football season. So how much do you really make of what they did there? And they've been really consistent as well.
Yeah, I'm unconvinced on them as well. And you see, I had them at 8. You had them at 7. So I think we're all kind of like, I just don't know what to do with them yet. Because again, they have 2 of the better wins in the area, but then they also have, some head scratchers kind of. So, and like they got the win against Hampton, but then they got just routed in the rematch, which wasn't great. They lost to Battery Creek, so you got to put them ahead of them. So I like that Robbie has Creek all the way up at 4, though. He's showing mad respect for Creek, which I think I'm gonna have to bump him up a little bit too next week, because this was another good one tonight. And speaking of which, we have one of the gentlemen who was there. We have Thomas Erdell. What's going on, buddy?
Hello.
Joining us from Beaufort's own, fresh off another double overtime thriller with Beaufort's own, and we'll get the video queued up here shortly. But girls' game got out of hand. Bishop England took care of that one, but the boys' game, what a game! It looked like Bishop England was maybe going to run away with that as well. It's like a 15-point deficit at one point, right? But those Dolphins, man, they've got some fight in them. They scrap back, double OT, and did he really beat the buzzer? Tell me.
He did.
He did?
Somebody actually asked me like after the game, he said on camera, did he beat the buzzer? And I was like, yeah, man, he did. So, that's what the ref called. You just got to respect the call. But as you mentioned, down 15, we kept highlighting it throughout the broadcast. Just every time Bishop England, kept trying to pull ahead, and just get more points to increase that lead. Battery Creek would just stay right there and not go away. It was either a 7-point lead, 10-point lead, and then they eventually got down to a 4-point lead. And once they got to 4, it seemed like that was the magic number, because that's when they were able to start knocking down shots and force both of those overtimes.
But that's quite a run that these Dolphins have been on. They've won now 4 of their last 5, sitting at 6-3 overall. And 2 of those being double overtime dramatic victories. Just describe the anatomy of more of how that comeback was able to happen, who the key guys were to finish it off.
So I'll start with Bishop England, because even though they lost, props to them, they played a great game. For them, their primary score was number 10, Jack Vandererve. I'm not exactly sure how many points we had because we don't have the live stats with us, unfortunately, but he was just absolutely going off in that first half to end it. In that second quarter, him and Elijah Mathis were just going back and forth, shot for shot, and a lot of them were 3-pointers as well. So they got to see that star-on-star matchup. And then also they had number 5, Aiden Alexander, played really well as well. But as you mentioned, just unable to get that win as Coach Brown and his Dolphins pulled off that improbable win. But for them, like as I mentioned, Elijah Mathis was definitely their star player tonight. At one point in overtime, I think it was the first overtime, might have been the fourth quarter. I'll have to go back and see. Obviously y'all have the highlights pulled up right now. But he told everybody to get out the way and went and took it himself. And Javon looked at me and said he called that himself. And
he went ludicrous on him. Said, "Move, get out the way."
But in addition to him, though, Ethan Cox was the one who hit the game winner. Obviously, you'll get to that in the highlights. And then Ethan White hit a 3-pointer in the corner that was huge late. And Javari Cole, he hit one of the shots. I think he was the one that sent it to second overtime, if my memory serves me correct. But, they just had, Mathis was the main scorer, but they had multiple guys, Mathis, White, Cole,
shake and
Cox,
bake
the game winner, just show up in big moments.
Oh, and Mathis again.
Willis as well, number 5. They kept beating him down in the paint. Him and Cox.
Willis has been a monster lately. He's been really good in the post lately.
Yeah, that was their game plan. It seemed like obviously they wanted Mathis to score, and it was funny. Had a moment in the first quarter where they were clearing out the 3-point line for Mathis, and I was able to correctly predict that. So that was kind of funny. But they just wanted Mathis to shoot the ball well, and then trying to get the ball down low. So he had a lot of points, a lot of assists, as he's the one who initiates their offense.
Yeah, he's the decision maker. He's really smooth when he gets a little space, especially at the top of the key, man. He's really good there, and that was a nice move with the left hand. Robbie must have fallen asleep on us again.
Yeah, so this play right
here,
luckily for Battery Creek, it didn't come back to cost them. So White had a wide open layup, underneath the basket, but he waited too long. I guess, Javon said must have thought it was going to get blocked or something. And so he hesitated and then missed. And then Bishop England were taking the other way right before half. So Coach Brown's kind of mad about that one going into halftime because they left points on the board and allowed Bishop to score. But luckily for them, it didn't come back to hurt them too much.
Rob is unaware that he's muted, apparently. I don't know if I muted him or if someone else muted him. There we go. No, you can be heard now, Robbie.
There he is.
You had not been heard for a while. Yeah, you had not been heard for a while.
I was enjoying it.
I thought you had fallen asleep, honestly.
No, literally, that's
so you've
very
been talking
possible.
to yourself. Okay. Yeah, I know. It has happened before. You have an MO.
I do not live these hours at all. Not even remotely.
You have to adjust your circadian rhythms.
Yeah,
so I'm feeling all right about my battery. My battery.
Yeah, your battery creek.
My Dolphins. Here's what started right here.
Yeah, man. I mean, these couldn't be any vastly different schools, by the way, that are in the same division. They're not even on the same planet of school.
They're not even in the same division anymore. Creek's in a higher division now. Bishop England's in 2A. Although we do have news because we do have in our possession, in our emails, those of us in the South Carolina sports media, the final realignment, which everyone's already seen at this point, I think.
I showed Javon on the stream. I got the notification. I'm in Beaufort Eagles football group on Facebook, and I saw the post, and I was like, "Hey, man, look, Beaufort's moving back up." So he was telling me that
Beaufort's going to 4A.
He was telling me they're either the biggest school in 3A or the smallest in 4A. So that's kind of a toss-up.
Yeah. Well,
oh no, I don't think that's the case at all. They're actually the 22nd out of 46 in 4A. They jumped way up there.
yeah.
Now that does include the multiplier now is in effect.
Right.
But Bishop
Yeah,
England will jump.
Ooh.
Bishop England's jumping to 4A.
They're coming up all the way.
Wow.
They're coming to
They're moving up
4A.
2 classes. That's crazy.
Gray's going to 4A, and they're number 7
Ooh.
in enrollment in 4A.
Yeah, he was telling me, how great that is for the streams for him next year. A lot of Lowco on Lowco battles.
Yeah.
So
Big time. We'll have Beaufort, Colleton, May River, which May River, I think, had higher enrollment than a couple of 5As. But I think they're getting saved by the geography for another round. Yeah. Myrtle Beach and Catawba Ridge were both well under May River.
And how about Beckham and
enrollment total?
James Island?
They're both 5A, and James Island's a big one at that.
Ooh.
Like they're way up there. Yeah, they're going to be in that Division 1 5A.
Hey, I like that as a Hilton High fan. We've had our lumps against those 2 teams over the years.
That's true. Hilton Head, by the way, of the local schools, closest to slipping to 3A. They're 33rd out of 46.
Let's talk about get back to this game real quick.
Yeah, because here it's starting to heat up. We're in overtime.
Yeah, a lot of great plays just made by a lot of great players in overtime.
Oh, nice.
See the pass down low to Willis there. They were just working that all night long, feeding him the ball in the paint, and it paid dividends for them.
Ooh.
Nice spin move. Man, this was a battle. I watched
what a pass.
The last little bit of overtime and then the whole second overtime. Yeah, that was great.
I saw your text telling us to hop.
I saw this part. Yeah, I was like, you cardiac boys gonna join us tonight?
I was telling him, man, like it's just crazy that Coach Brown, his Dolphins team has gotten not 1 but now 2 double overtime wins, and Javon was talking how all these minutes start to add up. So later on down the road, it could come back to them, but just the fact that they're winning these games. Last year, we talked about like how they were less than stellar and probably would have found a way to lose this game last year. But this year, he's definitely got them coached up right.
The maturity factor is really starting to show in these guys, and when they find a way how to win, you have that extra knack for closing out games.
The confidence, man. Confidence is everything.
Yep.
So we talked to Coach Brown after the game, and Javon was talking to him, and I was just there listening. But he was saying how with like the previous coaches, and no shade to them or whatever, but whenever he first got there 4 years ago, it was like the previous coaches' guys. But now that he said that the seniors now were his freshmen 4 years ago.
Right.
So like Wes just hinted at, having that maturity and, being able to develop these players over that span of time is just so key.
What an insane last few seconds here. We get the basket.
Well, and they all understand what you want to do.
Oh! Back beats the buzzer.
That was the buzzer.
Wins.
I gotta run back.
That was the buzzer.
Wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna put on the sound.
That pass right there is the one.
Yeah, that's sick, right?
Dude, the Bishop England pass.
Oh, he definitely beat the buzzer.
Yeah, for sure. It was just unreal because they took a shot and they missed it because they were trying to go fast. And they missed it at first. So I was like, oh no, they might have just thrown the game. But
look at CJ.
And a terrific call from Javon Livingston.
And they're going to say it's
that was.
Epic.
It was,
Absolutely epic.
I was saying on the broadcast too, none of the Buford games, because last year he only had like the go ahead from Buford's athletic director to do all these games. So last year, we only did Buford games. I was telling him that's the first OT game that I've called, let alone double overtime. So, and I was telling him, I've been treated to great sports finishes last night. I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan, and last night we had the emphatic win over the Eagles. JJ, your guy, former Mizzou guy, Drew Lock.
Yep.
And then tonight, Coach Brown and the Dolphins. So I was telling Javon, I've had a good 2 days, and I get to come back and do it again tomorrow. James Island, Buford High. So can't really see that one.
Marcus, does this game is it in the I can't believe what I just saw territory? Because you have used that line before. I believe in a football game. I remember you calling it.
I have, and taking a look at those highlights, that was definitely something. I've seen a lot of those types of games, in my career with WHHI and beyond as well. Battery Creek is a team that really has a chance, I think, to do some things with a couple of those other teams down a little bit, and taking a look at what they did against Bishop England in those highlights. I think they're going to be pretty impressive this year.
I'm growing more convinced with each one of these wins. And like you said, Thomas, like the record was bad last year, but we all acknowledged that like they were more competitive than they had been. But they were losing those close games. They were, like you said, finding a way to lose. And then now they're digging deep, man. They're finding a way to win in these really tough games. And that says a lot for me that there's a little bit more there.
Yeah.
Well, isn't there a new kid?
Who, Mathis? Is he new?
Yeah, he's from Atlanta,
I assumed
right?
he was new to the area. Yeah, Elijah Mathis.
Yeah, well, we're also like, okay, 4 years of this, that, and the other. But I mean, CJ's been at his best when his best talent has showed up.
Right.
I mean, that's the real, right? Like, so the one good year he really truly had, he had the
two kids from
Richland
Ridgeland and
Hardyville
one
kids.
from Buford. Yeah, and one from Buford.
Yeah. So this year he got the kid from Atlanta who, when you talk to the other good kids in the area, they're like, oh yeah, there's the Atlanta kid at Battery. That's the one they recognize. I didn't know his name.
Yeah.
So that's like when Eli showed up at Hilton Head Christian, right?
Yeah.
Like he got a name around the area because they play at a bigger market. Yeah, and you know how that's going around here the last several years, whether it was JJ Hayes at Prep.
Yeah, or
McCracken,
or
McCracken, or like Courtney now, or like the kids that kind of like
Cusano.
have a different.
I mean, he was
Cusano.
The same thing.
Yeah, exactly. They all like come from like areas.
An import. You get an import.
They're imports, but they go hard. They have like an infrastructure that goes harder a lot earlier, right? So like that's why they come here and they show out in a way that's big.
And I think they elevate everybody else around them too, because it's like kids are like, oh, okay, that's what it looks like, and then they emulate it,
And when you have like an alpha like that, where you can go, hey, this kid can carry on any given, particular game, it gets these other kids' work ethics up and around it. And CJ's a good motivator as it is. So it's kind of like a perfect storm a little bit. And it's good to see them get some W's early in the season. But definitely, as much of it is the culture, that's the influx of talent.
You get. Yeah, and it goes both ways. I mean, last year they'd have been better if Tayshaun was still there. I mean, like that's how it goes.
For sure.
But it's cool to see that cultivated, class that Coach Brown has developed, because he's been there for the last few years, and he's seen his share of some games that didn't go their way, and some years that they wish that could have been a little better. But it's great to see everything clicking early on, to see them getting a couple of dramatic wins, and really well earned, by the way, the fight they play with, and that extra level of confidence and overall tenacity and compete that they built on that squad. So fun team to watch. And those types of stories and teams, the guys you don't expect, no matter the sport, high school, college, professional, it's those teams that show up out of nowhere and have that, extra level of teamwork, work ethic, and performance on the field that surprise you, that make you love sports so much. And we're kind of seeing that here with what this Battery Creek team has done early on in the season.
Well, check it out. Like if you look at the various rankings that everyone submitted or whatever, I think one of the really interesting, and I don't know what would account for this. I have no earthly idea, but like on the boys' side, north of the Broad is very represented, right? Like very represented. Like there's
on the girls' side, it's so weak.
On the girls' side, you can't really.
Yeah,
I'm not sure there's one. Is there?
Not really.
Battery Creek that maybe comes in at 10 or something.
Yeah. But like, are they that much better than like BA? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. Or I mean,
yeah, but no, you're absolutely right. On the guys' side, the north of the Broad is really strong, and on the girls' side, it's really weak. And I don't know what accounts for that. Honestly,
I mean,
no idea.
It's interesting.
One of them things.
What you mentioned about Mathis and being so talented, Coach Brown told us he didn't say what school, but he said there was a college coach there tonight looking at him. So he was saying that, that added a little bit extra fire to him. He was just saying that he wants to get him to play that way every game, regardless, whether there's a big time coach watching or not. But he told us, he has aspirations that he wants to go to college and, presumably play basketball in college. So that's huge for him, that Coach Brown was able to tell us that he just has to keep playing that way, and I'm sure he'll get looks.
Well, I mean, we should all be playing that way all the time these days because you're on camera. You're on camera, and it's going on the internet every game. and you want people to watch it. So
what's funny?
You better play like that all the time.
It's the exact opposite, too, is what really blows me away about it, sort of a lot of it, is like the really good kids in season around here coast.
Yeah.
Like they don't dominate in the way they should. They don't put up statistically in the way they should. They legitimately coast because it's boring. And I mean, maybe not so much on the boys' side, but like on the girls' side, you watch some of these kids, and it's like they're borderline disinterested. You know what I mean? And it's a very interesting sort of deal. But yeah, I'm tired. So okay, here's a good example.
I feel you, because like in baseball we do the same thing. Our kids play down to the level. Like when we play somebody we should just dominate, we play slow and lackadaisical, and
here's a good like from an evaluation perception standpoint, right? Like, so I went to the Hilton Head Prep girls versus Hammond game this weekend. And Hammond has a kid committed to Elon who's top 5 in the state, Samir Khalil or something like that. And she can go, like, she's a skilled kid. She's like a 5'8", cerebral, can shoot it, can do pretty much what she wants with it. But like, she had a team around her, right? And the team they're not like good like her, but they're good enough. And they're like probably 2 or 3 others play travel, maybe more. And so she can just kind of like take plays off and make the right play and not worry about having to make every freaking play. And so there's the pros and cons to that. So you can see her skill set, but you don't see her dominate. So in a game where they played prep and won by 30, you would have come away thinking Courtney was by far the better prospect. But a lot of that had to do with just the amount of effort and volume she had to put in just to keep them even within 30, right? So, like, she has the ball the entire time. She's scoring. She's doing all this kind of stuff, and she looks like this all-world prospect. Meanwhile, the kid who is actually regarded as the all-world prospect is just coasting and skating and barely breaking a sweat. So you just see that stuff too much, like in the high school ranks around here. Like, and I think that's a difference in cities, right? They just put the pedal to the metal. Like, I was over at the Savannah High Windsor game, and it had like this level of obviously the crowd was hype and the whole place, the roof was going to come off. But like, there was an element of like an extra tier of energy, and like, the kids weren't taking as many plays off,
Yeah.
So anyway, I'd like to see
Play
that
hard.
kids.
Whatever you do, like whatever happens,
Yep.
happens. But
No
go
doubt.
hard. Like give it all you got. That's my thing. As a coach, that's what I want to see.
And especially, that's, and it's a good time to what we're seeing over at USCB with Ron Fidal's team, and man, they expend effort quickly because they have at least two groups of guys that'll go hard for 3 minutes and get rewarded time on the bench. The other half of the group gets on the floor, and it works really well. Or at least it's worked so well initially in this non-conference slate, but it's a great strategy to get those kids to use that energy when you're able to kind of implement it.
Well, you
Yeah,
just said a mouthful, Wes, because that's exactly it. Like, play 3 minutes so damn hard you can't see straight. Don't give me 8 where you're coasting.
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
and that's
That's the
what
thing.
kids. That's the natural inclination of kids is like, I want to be
Right.
on the floor, so I'm gonna I'm gonna do it what I have to do and be, to stay on the floor for the next 8 minutes. But like, the reality is, a coach wants to see you give it all, and then
Yeah.
you know what? Give me 30 seconds, and I'll get you back in.
Yeah, I
And
don't
guys,
need you
I
to
haven't
worry
seen
about conserving it.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen anything like that. What I saw on Saturday since my days calling hockey, and it was a lot of
Yeah.
fun to call that doubleheader the other day.
I bet it was.
I mean that's how it's based on. They're hockey like
Right.
ships where you're sending lines out there to expend energy, do your job, and then
Yeah.
get back on the bench. It's
Yeah, I love it.
it really works well, and these kids have adopted that mentality perfectly, and it's something that can trickle down to the lower levels if it's done the right way, and if these kids have that motivation. Because for younger age kids, it can be tough to have that go hard mentality, through
You gotta
a certain
instill
Well,
time
it.
span.
You
And
gotta
you have
you
start
know
to
what part of
instilling it.
what
Yeah.
I've realized is part of that, and it's very true at the high school level, and certainly has affected us in travel, and it's something that grew on me, and I learned very fast. Is that, and it especially affected us in travel, where everyone thinks they're alpha, right?
Yeah.
You have to like have coaches who are cognizant and in the moment enough and relate well enough with the kids to actually sit with them and define their role. And the thing
Mhm.
is kids are not as different now as they were 20 years ago. I mean, they are and whatever, and we are too. So it's like it all has changed.
Yeah.
But the gist of it is that if you tell them what you want out of them and what it's going to get them on the floor, and this is an important part of what we're going to do to win, then they're not unhappy to go do that for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like you just have to sit with them, and it also eases anxiety, right? Like,
Mhm.
oh, I've got to go out and make the best play all the time, or I got to go do this. Well, no, if your job is to go play defense, rebound, and get 50-50 balls
Yeah.
and just be a total nuisance on their best offensive player by, playing deny defense all night, well, then the metrics by how you gauge how you played are very different than
Right.
say, the number one scorer or whatever, but it's no less important to the W.
Right.
So, like, I think it's really important that coaches do that and define that. And it sounds like Coach Fudala has done a good job of that because he's got two lines buying in,
Yeah.
you
Absolutely
know?
buying in. Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. Like yeah, you have to. Kids today are different. Yes, they need you to communicate to them directly, and I find often that I may have to use a half dozen. Yeah, I am. My boy Gerhardt pointed out that I was rubbing out my shoulders. We had dodgeball as alternative wrestling practice today because the cafeteria was booked for a concert. So we hit the weight room and then we hit up dodgeball in the gym. No, I just have janky rotator cuffs, man. They're so messed up. It's bad. Speaking of which, we got to talk about some rotator cuffs, because we got to talk about our sponsors. We haven't done any of that. We're 50 minutes in, boys. We've just been rambling. Megan Jarrett is my wife, and she's the official realtor of Lowco Sports, and she has agreed to allow me to move my office into the bonus room above the garage, which is why I have this nice blank background tonight. But my old background will be coming back here eventually. I'm in transit. I'm moving. But Megan Jarrett is the official realtor of Lowco Sports as well, and she would love to help you find your place in the Lowco, starter home, forever home, whatever you need. She'll get a search set up, and we'll find the perfect home for you. And when we do, we'll take you to homegrown home inspections. Let you talk to Jan Lucas and his team, and they'll show you that they provide great customer service and a level of expertise that is unmatched in the area with every home inspection. So we'll let them be your eyes and ears and make sure you're making a good purchase. Then we'll go to Mickelson Law Firm to sign the papers with the official real estate closing attorneys of Lowco Sports and our original sponsors since 2017. And finally, Hospice Care, the Lowcountry. Love those folks over there. James Disman and his team. Tremendous caring staff at Hospice Care, the Lowcountry, where it's not about dying, it's about living. But yeah, I'll later talk about Ambrose Cole, who worked out my janky rotator cuffs the other day. But no, we're just talking about coaching kids and having to relate things to them in different ways and kind of connect the dots. And I think one of the things I've learned as an adult is like learning about my own neuroses and like ADHD and things like that, and learning how to recognize those things in kids too, and using that to find ways to relate to them, because sometimes the same message doesn't work for everybody, and some people process things differently, and you have to kind of take a step back and figure out where the roadblock is and get around it. And then once you do, you kind of have that relationship with that kid where you know how to get through to them. And I think that's a big part of what, especially in this day and age, makes a great coach. We're no longer in the day and age where everybody responds to Bobby Knight screaming at you and calisthenics and stuff. Like we're past that point. Like it just doesn't fly these days. And so that might work for some kids, but you're going to have to adjust your bedside manner for others, or you're going to run out of people real quick. But what are we going to talk about else basketball wise tonight, Javon? I think you're the guy. I think you're the guy who brings all the overtimes. You got a Buffalo Wild Wings button, Buford button.
I'm trying to tell you, man. Something's going on, man.
Sponsorship over here, something.
Hey, man, listen. I told
Javon, your thoughts on another overtime classic that Battery Creek was involved in and won.
For you now, right?
Well, listen. I just told Coach Brown after the game. I was like, man, I appreciate you. I was like, because I already know what Buford High, Battery Creek means to this side, and I'm trying to work my way onto the other side to get some of those Bluffton and May River, and try to get some of those games over there too and spread out. But as far as this side, this is where a lot of my viewers pretty much come from, and I just told them thank you, because they've got some buzzer beater games in there, some tight games. I said, thanks for letting me know Buford High versus Battery Creek is going to do some numbers. I appreciate you, man.
Got you some nice highlight clips as well.
Especially for the finale, man. The game's going to always be there, but region-wise, just announcement that Buford's going back to 4A. So for the region this year, they appreciate them for doing that. But man, I'm excited, man. I love it, man. It's been great, for me watching it and getting into basketball, and I'm learning a little bit more about sports each year. And like I said, I've talked plenty of time, and I love where basketball is at on the boys' side this year. Previous year, it's been the girls' side, and the boys' side has been down. But, this year, I think it's been the boys that's been running away with it in the games that I've been covering, man, to the wire, man. I love it, man. We are all sports guys. You can't ask for nothing more.
Absolutely.
It's been a blast. You know what else we can talk about, Javon, while we got you? How about your All-Star? How about your alumni game? Your alumni game you had the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Highlights of that. Tell us who are we looking at here, because some of these guys getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, so that was Simeon Middleton. You know, the Simeon and Middleton
yeah.
brothers. Some of them cut. That's Javari Abagati, all-time three-point
Oh,
leader
yeah,
for Battery
right.
Creek
Oh,
right there. That's Smiley Freeman. He was in there with Devontae Wilson a couple years ago. Who was that right there? I can't remember who that is.
East-West Shrine Game.
That's from Hilton Head, number 1. That's Mike Middleton. He cut his hair.
See, now
That's
we gotta
Javari.
get these folks playing in the Lowcountry Legacy for Percival's thing
Yeah,
too,
in the
because that
summer.
was fun.
Yeah,
That was fun. I like
that's
this repping the
Adonis.
schools thing. Repping the schools is fun.
Yeah, they spread out this year because it started off as mostly a Battery Creek Well Branch thing, but
Right.
that's Jermaine Patterson right there from Bluffton.
Oh,
Heck of a
Patterson
player.
got in on it, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, he was
Patterson.
there this summer. But
Um,
Buford High, Well Branch, and Battery Creek need to get in this alumni basketball tournament
that's
next summer.
Justin Oliver. I believe he's second at Battery Creek in threes.
Ooh. Behind Javari, yeah.
Yeah. And then you'll see a white guy white guy come in with the dunk. That's Malloy from Hilton Head.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Davis
him.
Malloy.
Let me see if I can
Alright.
grab the proper. Yeah, Davis Malloy.
Yeah,
Let me see who we got here.
Bam.
That was 21. That's AJ Warren, class of 2020 from Battery Creek.
Ooh.
Nope.
Trying to DM up.
11. That's another Battery Creek guy.
Oh, splash.
That's Sim, who also won the 3-point contest.
Oh, moves.
Oh, this is
missed the
fun,
layup.
man.
Rebound.
I'm sorry
Yes.
I missed this. This is fun.
That's Jalen Reeves down there. Who cut his dreads
Oh
off.
yeah, Reeves.
That's Malloy right there.
Fill it up.
Yeah.
This boy's been shooting.
Yeah, there goes Reeves.
Oh yeah, Jalen Reeves still
From
shaking
Well
and baking
Branch.
in the paint. Pulling up. Coach CJ didn't get in on this?
Nah, he was commentating. If you listen to it.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And then that was Kenny Brown, I believe. Yeah.
You're gonna have to get Ryle back for one of these. Get Ryle back for one of these.
Yeah, he was in it. He played. I think he just did the slam dunk contest last year. I don't think he played. I think he just did the slam dunk.
This is fun, man.
And then that's PJ Franklin, number 3 for the East from Hilton Head.
And it's really fun to just watch and talk about old guys that made their mark.
Remembering some dudes.
Yeah.
Did we have any ladies come out and play this year?
Yeah, Kiara Wilson.
All right,
and then
nice.
Catrice Dan, both Battery Creek girls.
Oh yeah, I remember Catrice back in the day. The ball. Oh, we had quite a few girls, women, come out and play this summer, including Jomanda Smalls, who was a factor. She can still stroke it.
There they go right there. Catrice and Kiara right there.
Oh,
get that out of here.
Ooh.
Yeah, they started warming up once the second half. That second half started. That's when the comeback came on.
Oh, there we go.
That's Javari. I think Javari's record is 103 threes in the season. I think it is, or something like that.
Man, Javari, he was unreal. I remember covering one game where I think he made 9. It was all bets were off, man. You had no idea how many times he was going to throw it in from 3.
He had all 3 Middletons. That was that's Simeon Middleton.
Oh, what a finish!
Yeah,
that
was David Smith from Battery Creek too.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you got Sim, Mike, and Jay Middleton. That's Jay Middleton right there, 25.
Nice. Oh, this is good stuff.
Yeah, they started going in.
Uh-oh.
Two-way to jam.
He's still playing semi-pro ball with the
Who
Wilmington
was
Heat.
that?
Eric Freeman, Smiley.
Yeah, there he is. Smiley
Battery
Freeman.
Creek.
Stupid.
Mike Middleton.
You got all that.
It's Adonis Williams, who grew out the dreads.
It's hard to recognize people, man.
They cut
Body
the man.
types changed, haircuts changed. Javari's a lot bigger, a lot thicker than he used to be.
Yeah, Javari is. Mike cut his hair. Jalen cut his hair.
Oh,
that's Davis Malloy right there from
Davis
Hilton Head.
Malloy, Soren. This is fun, man. I love the nostalgia associated with this.
Davis like had a better college career than he did high school almost.
Malloy, yeah, true. He was kind of a late bloomer. He had a big growth spurt late and had a really good senior year, and then went on and played pretty well.
Yeah,
he's a good athlete. Brothers play on lacrosse down in Florida, I think. Oh, Jabari. Jabari's still quick, though, man. He's still slippery.
That was AJ Warren.
Nice little step back from Jake Middleton right there.
Man.
Yeah, all right, man. Y'all be okay. I still play semi-pro football sometimes. So
He still plays semi-pro football sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Brown was talking about all that contact down there. I was like, man, I play football sometimes, man. You got.
I need you to come down the wrestling room with McCracken. You got your volunteer card, right?
My volunteer card. Now I got to get another one. Mine's expired.
Yeah, get that re-upped and come bang with my my 7th grade 205 pounder. He needs some work.
That works. Get me some new
needs somebody to bang around with him. There you go.
To get me in shape. I'm coming in there with the hoodie.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, dude. I was seeing stars after about 30 seconds the other day. Because I can't not wrestle hard, right? So
right.
I went hard for as long as I could, and then I was like, I gotta get out. I'm gonna die.
Well, I always tell people are like, wrestling's a good workout, and I'm like, well, if you think about every fight you've ever seen, it's usually about 30 seconds. We got to go for 6 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's if it goes all the way.
But 2 before we can breathe, and we don't get any water.
Yeah.
Water's not an option.
That was great stuff. I mean, remembering the guys that came over here and coming back, put on a show like that. That's what makes me really happy to see that continued involvement with those alums and to continue to spread their talents and just to remember dudes. And that's what these kinds of things are all about.
Well, and just see them play, it's, I don't know, a big part of what makes this so great is the joy of watching that people display when they play the game they love, and it just pours out of them. And to see the people that once brought you that joy as high school athletes, come back and do it again. And there's not any real stakes, but so they're out there just having a ball and doing it for the love of the game.
It's for the love of the game at this point.
Yeah, and there's just so much beauty in that. It's so much fun. Everybody leaves happy. Win, lose, or draw, everybody goes home happy, and that's a cool thing. So,
but hey, fellas,
go ahead.
Let's say Sim won the 3-point contest they had before the game, and he didn't even finish it.
Wow.
I think the first round, I believe it was if I'm not mistaken, it was PJ Franklin, because he's the guy I didn't know, and he came out there and he made 15 threes in the first round, and it was like, oh, all right. And then the second round he just flamed out. He only made 6. So Sim came in the finals, so he made 6, and then Sim won second. Sim shot 7 before he even got to the top of the key and just stopped.
It's just like the home run derby, man. It's just like the home run derby. You hit 25 in the first round, and then your arms are falling
Julio
off. And you can't
Rodriguez.
hit it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it Julio who did that most recently? Hit a
Yep.
million in the prelims, and then just couldn't swing a bat anymore after that. Yeah, that happens from time to time.
Ran out of juice.
But let's shout out some more sponsors. Varsity sponsors. We got DDS Web Design and Parker Law Group. So if you need a website or if you need people to visit yours more frequently, you can call on DDS Web Design at ddshhi.com. They'll give you a free consultation and let you know what's going on with your SEO so you can get more clicks and do more business online. And the Parker Law Group will help you with all your legal needs, especially if you're in Hampton, Colleton, or Jasper counties. They've been doing that for years, and now they're helping us out to expand our coverage in those counties and shine a light on more deserving teams and student athletes around the Lowcountry. So what else do you want to talk about for a few minutes here, boys, before we call it a night? It was kind of a slow night. We had the 2 games at Battery Creek, and like I said, JP2 games got canceled against
Javon,
PA,
we got Buford,
slow night.
James Island tomorrow. What
Yeah.
are you looking at there? Because
I
that's a
think
solid
Thomas is a little more excited than I am about that one. Not that I'm not excited about it. I just the history behind that game, Buford and James
Right.
Island.
Former,
And Thomas keeps point. Yeah.
Region competitors. Yep.
Yeah, Thomas pointed that out. He was like, last year at senior night, a lot of the guys pointed out that their favorite basketball memory was winning region against James Island. And I've been hearing about it. And I was like, dude, I don't even remember nothing from that. I barely can remember yesterday. But he was talking about that. And so I'm excited, man. I hope it'll be a good one, man.
Good Buford team.
Send them off into Christmas. Yeah.
He had Michael Dennison, James Dennison, and a couple others. I'm trying to think back, but yeah, those Buford had some.
Zyron?
Zyron.
Yeah. Anderson Jones, I believe, was
he was
peacock in that team. That was a really fun team. I was at that game against James Island, if I recall correctly, and I'm pretty sure I do. For once in my life, I'm pulling it up right now.
That's what I'm talking about. You get fast with that mouse, aren't you, buddy?
53-50. That was the score of that game.
That was a farmer.
I'm trying to get the box score pulled up.
He's getting fast with that mouse, man.
Yeah. Not right now. My rotator cuffs are screaming at me.
Work the wrist. It's all in the wrist.
No, it's just the angle of the keyboard. I don't have my setup all squared away yet. But there you go.
All right, Jake Alvarez also.
Jake Alvarez, indeed. He was a scrappy dude, man. He'd get after you. James Dennison had a big game in that one.
That line for Anderson Jones, 7 points, 5 boards, endless more hustle plays and deflections that didn't show up.
Doubles from the brothers, bro. I'm mad I didn't cover Buford High the year before that, man. Jesus. That's nice.
Yeah, doubles from both Dennison bros. That was just a battle too, and no stats for James Island. That's a bummer.
I hate that.
I don't get to remember that. Yeah.
I like that there a lot of teams, not every team, but a lot of teams are doing them more because when you record with the tablet, you could just upload it and it'll automatically.
And I love all the video clips that will show. I think they do it with like Huddle, where it has all like the this guy made a three, this guy.
Now the really aggravating thing is the schools that have Huddle. And they don't link it up to their max preps. Like, it is automated, y'all. Like,
just do it.
Just link it up, push it through. Like, it's
because I'm like, how
the easiest way to help publicize the kids. Like, it helps on so many levels. You have no idea how many levels. Like, we can't even accurately say like that kid's averaging whatever if you don't have your stats on max preps. Like, it makes a world of difference. And
I remember talking to
like if we're compiling like an all area team, or we're looking for kids to shout out as players of the week and stuff, and we don't have stats, like they're not going to get it. Like, they're just not. The more information we have, the better shot you got, and because there's more chance that something's going to stand out and catch our eye. And we're checking Max Preps every day, numerous times a day, like to see what's there. Sometimes just hoping maybe that you figured it out and you're gonna start uploading the stats. And please
I'm on it right
don't
now.
stop and not upload
Well-
your stats on the last game of the season.
Yeah.
From a unnamed
That's
that
so
you
frustrating.
well, to that unnamed, source, they don't want nobody to know what they're coming with, and that's
Well,
very selfish. That's very selfish because you're doing a disservice.
it's
to the kids
also
that's playing the team.
ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like, you got to trade film with them already. That's part of the deal. We've always done that since the beginning of organized sports and video.
Mhm.
Like, that's a thing we do. And if
You should
you
gotta drive
can't
anymore.
beat somebody
I
because
don't-
they know
I don't
what
think
you
that's a
got,
given, man, at all. At all
what's
anymore.
that?
In
Yeah.
Exchanging film?
Yeah, in basketball, not at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not a
Well,
given
regardless,
at all.
if you can't beat somebody because they saw your stats on Max Preps, then you got bigger problems.
You got to
Well,
stop it. I don't care what you see.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter is the point. Like, not the point
Yeah.
is that this is all about, like, the reality is this is the shit excuse me, this is the stuff I hate, is that it gets to be about adults, right? Like,
Right.
and
Yeah.
oh well, you have to wear your shooter all during warm up so they can't see what number you are, right? Because they know via Max Preps that you put up these kind of points or this, that, and the other. The reality is you still got, it's Jimmy's and Joe's. You still got to stop the kid in front of you, right? And
Yeah.
or your coach has had to X and O and figure out a way to shut them down. So it's sort of like, just do the kids a service, put it out there.
Absolutely.
There's also other weird stuff too. Like, you see a lot of, this is interesting. A local guy around here who won many state championships and is over in Savannah now. He does the same thing there as he does here. He changes the way he's played a little, which is interesting. But he's with Max Preps and Huddle, but he does not let the stats propagate. Like,
Right.
everything else propagates, but not the
Right.
stats.
I
And he
know.
doesn't. And then, like, I
Drives
remember
me
the
crazy.
big. You remember the whatever it was at JP2 the last several years, is that for whatever reason it seemed like that they didn't want other kids on the team seeing other kids on the team stats for jealousy purposes or
Yeah,
something of, which is just like, sort of like, well, everyone knows, like, you know who your leading scorer is, you know who your ball handler is, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just seems
I don't know.
like,
I view it as like public record. Like, you
it's
chose to
adults, man.
compete in a public
It's a sport,
competition.
man.
Like, it's
well,
public
that's
record.
it, man. It's all adults. So, like, just don't fake the funk. Just load it up,
Yeah.
call it a day, and it is what it is, and
It
it
is
comes out
what
in a
it
wash.
is. Like, whatever happened, happened. But, like, it is what it is. And
I
we
hate.
ain't
on the
I
other
hate
blaming
it.
side,
nobody. We just want to love on the people who are
Listen,
doing well.
I'm a live
yeah, but
streamer.
Yeah.
I had to fight a
I mean,
lot to cover some of these games. You know what I'm saying? And it's
Yeah,
all
man.
it's
We
all
need all the
simply
information we
because
can
of that.
find.
It's either competition, scared of competition, or ticket revenue. Those are the two things I fight the most.
Well,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
that's true. Yeah, there's a lot of, yeah, you do fight that one. And you'll continue to fight that one because it's real. Like, it does. I mean, I'm on your side. Like, I think it outweighs, like, whatever revenue you're losing in ticket sales. I think the positive benefit of putting your programs out there and putting your kids out there outweighs that. But it is a real thing for schools. Like, they do rely on that, especially for football,
Yeah,
man.
game
Like,
revenue is huge in those, minor
Yeah.
league
if
sports.
the weather's a little janky and they're like, I can just watch it on TV.
Yeah,
Like,
but at that point, you know what I'm saying? And I'll say this from a point of, if I'm not streaming every single game, I don't really
yeah,
think it matters. But if I'm streaming every single game of a specific place, like I've been doing Beaufort High,
yeah.
then I understand your point. But if it's just a one-off, I don't
If
think
it's
it
like a
really does that
playoff
much.
team on the road, that's
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it makes
I
sense.
disagree.
Yeah.
But that is why they asked for, for that streaming
Because the
fee.
same parents I
just
see
to
at every
offset.
game, I see everywhere I go.
Yeah, I know.
Because the parents are going to travel, or the parents that are going to travel,
Right.
they're going to do it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like most people are either gonna go or not gonna go. Like Jimmy Searson's going regardless of whether you're streaming or not, and most people are gonna
Right.
go are going
The
regardless.
diehards will be there. It's just
It's
the
a
other group.
handful most of the time.
And I
Now I
say
will
my
say for guys like me, like on a Friday, I will definitely weigh like what can I pull up on NHFS or whatever versus what do I actually have to get to so I can see some kids real fast, see what they look like, and like move on, right? So I mean I get it, but at the same time, I guess they're getting they're getting revenue through something like that. So.
Well, it's just a thought process that if 1,000 people watched the stream, 1,000 people would have come to the game, and that's not true.
Yeah, no. There's no way it's a 1-to-1 conversion.
That's what I mean. That's the main point of it, and that's not the case.
I mean, you probably have demographic data as far as like zip code data on where people are logging in from, right?
Yeah, with YouTube I do. Yeah, with YouTube I do.
Because you get a ton of people. I know you get a ton of people from that have moved away that are watching.
And that's my point. Whenever I start,
and then you get people across the state that are just tuning in because they're doing whatever on Friday night.
Exactly.
And come across it, like
whenever I get past the ticket revenue point with anybody I'm asking to film a game with, and I start bringing up those other points, they try to end the conversation because then you start losing the conversation. And it's because yes, it will deter a couple of people from coming to the game, but you also have to think about parents with kids, people with disabilities. You have alumni. Nick can't come watch Well Branch games. Want to know why? Because he has to play. You know what I'm saying? You got, former students. You just got parents, people that weren't going to come anyway. And then you have people that are just going to watch because it's free and they just scrolled by it. They weren't coming anyway.
Right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And then
they didn't even know you were playing tonight.
That group.
Yeah, they didn't even know. It was like, oh, shoot. The rival game, Battery Creek versus Well Branch. Oh, shoot. I'll watch that. You know what I'm saying? That's
Especially when it's on YouTube and you're just scrolling through, you're looking for something to watch, and you come across a local high school basketball game and piques your interest. So
especially if it's in double overtime.
Well, ultimately, fans of the team. Ultimately, it comes about promoting the kids, right? Like, and that's what it is.
That's what it is for me.
I mean, that's what it is. Like, there are kids out there, they're going hard. A lot of them are trying to get, leverage scholarship opportunities or, educational opportunities. And every bit, in a world that's now based off impressions and streams and, those sorts of numbers, like it's all for the good. It doesn't hurt. I mean, if it does deter a few people from showing up, that's kind of okay based off of the reach you're getting in an area that's really more growth oriented at this point.
Some of those people you might not really want to come to the game because they might start trouble. Maybe it's better if they just stay home, because they're like, well, I could go to the game, but I got a warrant, and maybe I should just stay home and watch some Buford Zone.
Yeah, I mean that's real. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems to me like all of it's for the good of the kids, and it's fired up.
And Javon, you can attest to how excited they are when you show up or when we show up. Wes can too. Like,
they're excited.
It makes their day when you're there to see them play and to broadcast it. Yeah, you too, Marcus. That they're pumped to see you there, and so like that's what it all comes back to me. Is
kids don't even know my name. They just Buford's home.
Yeah, I'm Lowco. Right. I just get called Lowco everywhere I go. Lowco, what's up?
They're carrying in McDonald's for pregame. Like, hey, it's Buford's home. We live tonight. Yeah. Like,
I lead the world in fist bumps right now because like I'm fist bumping everybody. They're like, hey, you're Lowco Sports. I don't know who they are, but they know who I am. So.
I was trying to be like you a little bit. And I took a picture, and I didn't like I was like, I got to start taking pictures, man. I got to ingratiate because I'm quiet, dude. I kind of, like once we start talking, I talk. but I don't approach people a lot. So, I just go up there, I stream, I get down, I go home. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I saw you being more. Yeah, I saw you being social and pictures, and I was like, and I'm trying to push the sponsor gig, and I was like, maybe I got to get out there more. And I took one picture when I was talking to somebody, man. I was gonna post, and I just kept looking. I was like, man, nah, it's not me.
Not for you.
No,
I just like remembering. I just like taking them, so I remember all the people I saw every night.
Listen, all of my pictures in my phone are from work. Like, so, and I was trying to get better at, let me create some memories and, what I'm saying, get out there and, and I just, nah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I don't think I have pictures of myself.
No, you refuse to be on camera even. Like you're Mr.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't do it. Like,
you're not even doing the video chat right now.
He never does. He's the man without the face. He won't appear.
It's I run a kids organization. Like, what do they care about a middle-aged guy? You know what I mean?
It's easier that way if he falls asleep too. Like
easy.
We'll just have to speculate based on the snoring. That he's sleeping and not know for sure.
You had to mute fast that night.
Once I realized you were snoring, we just took it off every now and then just to check if you were still asleep.
You had no idea. Like, I woke up like sideways, upside down.
And then I swear I heard a dog lapping water for a while. I don't know what was going on.
That legitimately happened. Probably, I was in a room where there's a dog water bowl. So there you go.
Oh man!
I heard that dog lapping water. You must have fallen asleep and dropped your phone next to the dog bowl or something. Like it was phenomenal.
I mean, I had to look for my phone in the morning. I had no idea where it was.
I'm glad we had such a compelling show that night. But let's hit up the Lowco Booster Club.
It was like early. It wasn't on any of y'all. That was like 2 minutes in.
You zonked out. Let's hit up the Lowco Booster Club. Court Lifestyle Pros, Lowcountry natives, Daniel and Debbie Court, selling the Lowco lifestyle in Hilton Head Island. Your friends and mine, Marcus. Barefoot Foot Care of the Lowcountry. Chris Odom, great dude, phenomenal guy at cleaning those floors. Gets them so clean, your feet will thank you. Yeah, we did them, Wes. I zipped them out. Prime IV Hydration and Wellness, now open in Belfair Town Village. Go see my guy Max and get juiced up. He'll get you feeling right with that IV drip full of all the goodies. Rooted Living Wellness, Dr. Ambrose Cole. He gave me a nice adjustment the other day. He worked on these rotator cuffs that are killing me. I'm gonna have to go see him again before Christmas, I think. Get feeling good. Eagle Creations, one of the best kept secrets if you need your promotional items or some custom apparel. They can set up a team store for you, all kinds of stuff over on Arjun Boulevard. Go check them out, Bill and Mandy. And Jay's Barber Shop, the place to be in Ridgeland. Go get your haircut or just hang out and chill with our guy Jay and all the fun people hanging around there. Get some tacos. I recommend the Al Pastor, out the door and to the left. Best stuff down there. Jay will take you down there and speak the Spanish for you if you need him to. He's that kind of guy. He'll take care of you. And Reverence Wrestling Club. Got to throw them in there as well. They've jumped on as the presenting sponsor of the Lowco Grind, which we'll have for you tomorrow night at 10 p.m. talking high school wrestling. We'll recap all the Lowco Wrestling Championships over the weekend, as well as check in on the Bluffton guys who were elsewhere up at the Hanahan Hawk Invitational. And we're going to talk with some of the Whale Branch girls who won the championship. Got 13 girls on the Whale Branch wrestling team. I love it. It's awesome stuff.
Oh, yeah, saw that.
Yeah, they brought it home, man. Pretty cool. But those are our sponsors for this season so far. We'd love to have you join us. We also had a live episode of Under the Bus on Monday. We got the old goats on StreamYard and put one out while the studios closed at USCB. So that was fun. Curry Kirkpatrick, just always hilarious. Rich Pasirico, great. And Bob Stevens is wrangling them. He's your buddy too, Marcus. But Marcus, one last thing before we go. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, but USCB women are now at 4-4. Men are at 7-1 going into the break, and you got to see them live on Saturday for the first time, filling in for me in the play-by-play chair. But what were your thoughts about the teams as well as the environment over there?
Oh, it was phenomenal. I mean, for me, it was the first doubleheader of college basketball that I called since I was in college. So to be back in that type of environment was incredible. The one thing that I thought of as I was calling the action with Red, who was tremendous as well, by the way, just the depth that USCB has on both teams, and they're really well coached. Obviously, talking to both head coaches after each game, being that they were wins, asked some very poignant questions in the moment. Certainly they're getting ready for the break, and then they'll get after it come the start of the new year. But just from top down, we talk about it so much with high school and professional sports, and then seeing it back in the college environment. Just really impressed with both teams that USCB had out there against New College of Florida on Saturday, and I look forward to just following them along over the next few weeks, because before long I'll be back with Red filling in for you again on the 13th of January against Georgia Southwestern.
Ooh, that'll be exciting.
Yeah, I'll be coaching the Bulldogs and
the competition is certainly going to ramp up
qualifier.
Once you get into conference play, because there are some dogs in the Peach Belt that going to test these two teams. But I'm blown away by what I've seen so far. The atmosphere, the fan support, and the performance on the court. Both these teams, and certainly different situations with the women, certainly having to deal with a lot more injury adversity. The men, looking solid, especially by the way that they show off offensively, and they're averaging like
8 guys in double digits. They corrected the
Incredible.
stats, Marcus. So Pulse ended up with 12 or 11. So they had 8 guys in double digits. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they're fun. They are well worth the price of admission to go over there to the Cove in the new year and check them out if you haven't already, because it's only going to get more exciting with the better teams in there, and we're going to have some dogfights.
Oh yeah, the Peach Belt schedule is going to be amazing. I mean, the competition level is going to be amazing, and they'll take some lumps, I imagine, especially the women, just because they don't have quite, with the 2 big transfers out, they don't have quite as much juice as the guys. But I've been impressed with the development that we've seen early on, and some of those players that were kind of last off the bench early in the season are starting to really contribute in big ways as they adjust. And Ness and Self, like they're just adjusting to the style and the system and learning the system, and both Red and Rich Vasirica, when I've had them beside me, have commented on how well they run lanes and how how well they play really good zone defense, and now they're starting to be able to man up a little bit more as they get more depth, but they run lanes really well and play good team basketball, and so they're getting more out of it than the sum of the parts sort of. But the guys, like, I mean, I knew like what he was selling us, but like I couldn't have imagined it was going to be as fun as it is. Like, it's way fun. They're super athletic, and they just play such a fun brand of basketball. So they get up and down and just go. I mean, you talked about the line changes, and they go so freaking hard all the time, and it's just exciting. It's fun to watch.
As I've said before, it reminded me very much doing that guys game of when I was calling hockey back in college.
Yeah.
It's just constant action. And again, going back to that matchup against New College of Florida, they had some really good athletes as well in the girls game, or in the ladies game, and in the men's game. But the depth is the big key to me.
Yeah.
And seeing what USCB can do the rest of the way, certainly, but in the next couple of weeks until I see them again on the 13th, it's going to be interesting to see how they can come out of the break, especially with the ladies, with the fact that they're banged up.
Yeah.
Get these teams rested up and move on from what the first part of the season was, And January 3rd will be here before we know it. But, shout out to New College of Florida for giving USCB everything they could handle too. But too much depth, and kudos
held
again.
the mighty Banyans.
That's right, to Sharon and Rod for what they've been able to do so far. Looking forward to seeing much more of them down the line.
The mighty Banyans with the drippy biceps. Well, hey, fellas, I think we've done
he does have
way
drippy
more.
biceps.
He has super drippy biceps. I think we've done enough damage for tonight and then some. Talking hoops for a light slate, we managed to talk for 90 minutes. Talked about a little bit of everything. But guess what? We'll be back to do it again tomorrow night, talking wrestling on the Lowco Grind, and then Thursday night with the Lowco Sports Lowdown. And then we may, because we still got one more decent slate on Friday, right? We got a few games.
Yep.
So we'll play it by ear. We'll coast into the holidays, take a couple days off at some point, but I imagine we'll get tired of staring at the walls and want to talk to each other about sports soon. So probably won't take too long. Won't take too long of a break. We've been decorated since freaking November over here, bro. My wife.
Talk about your background, man.
Oh, well, I decorate that. Yeah, I gotta organize. It's chaos around me right now. Total chaos.
See, mine's just the backdrop, so you know what I'm saying.
Can't wait to see what you come up with.
I moved too.
I could go that route.
Huh?
I could go that route. I just moved upstairs. I just moved to my new man cave.
See, I moved and you don't even know I moved. The rest of this room is chaos, but you don't know because I just put up the backdrop.
Right. Yeah. That's what I need to get. I've got one. I can just hang it up back there. But well, hey guys, thanks for coming along for the ride. It was a pleasure as always. Thanks to all of our sponsors and everybody who showed up to listen or watch. For Javon Livingston, Thomas Riddell, Rob Benson, Marcus Walsh, and Wes Kerr, I'm Justin Jarrett. Until next time, go Lowco.